today?
Practice today, we just get back to basics, back to practice. You know, they've been off since the Civil War, so it's almost 2 weeks. That's getting up till tomorrow. So it was, you know, back to basics, back to fundamentals. They lifted twice last week with Coach Rad, and then they had to get another lift in this week during finals. So we started off with lifting today, and then just back, run around. Everybody's getting reps and getting back to getting after it.
At what point do you start actually implementing Kansas State stuff?
Following week sometime. You know, we got 4 practices here, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and we'll just be everything's basic here. So they'll have our game plan before we break for Christmas, and then we'll just kind of repeat it when we get down there for practice itself. So.
Surprised at all that Kenyon didn't win Doak Walker?
Nah, I mean, I don't know how the voting is. I think Monty's had a great career. I mean, I think all 3 of those guys, you can't say, hey, this guy deserves it over that guy. I think it was, you know, pretty close. Jonathan Franklin had an outstanding career. I think he's the all-time leading rusher at UCLA. You certainly know what Kenyon did for us. But, you know, just to be mentioned with those other 2 guys, I think it's a real honor for him. I talked to him. He got delayed getting back here. He was stuck in Salt Lake City, so I talked to him for a little bit today. But you never know who's going to win those things. But I know he was real excited, had a good visit, had a good time down there, really enjoyed his time. So we're still really, really proud of him. So.
What coaches do you have a hand right now?
I think everybody. Cam isn't back. Scotty will be. DP came in halfway through, and I think Oz. Everybody else was here, I think. A couple guys came in during practice. So.
Is Kenyon here today?
What? I just talked about that big guy.
How did the guys handle the basics? I mean, did it feel like there was a rust?
No, they were flying. We got 40 snaps in the first 12-minute period and 40 snaps in our second 12-minute period, so they were moving around pretty good. So they were good. So.
How many schedules did you have to put together a couple weeks ago? I mean, when the title game was still up in play, you don't know what bowl you're going to.
I put together a schedule every summer, depending on whether we're going to the New Mexico Bowl all the way to the national championship game, or whether we're not going. So when it comes time, it's not like, oh, let's put a schedule together. It's stuff I do, you know, when I got a lot of time in the summertime to just go through it. So we've got a contingency plan for every available option for us, depending on when, whether it's that first bowl I think is December 15th, or if for some reason we didn't go to a bowl game, what was our plan in our schedule? So we had it just kind of, let's just take that folder out. So.
You guys had a chance to look at a lot of tape on Kansas State so far?
Yeah, I mean, everybody got loaded up before they took off. You know, all of us were out for at least a couple days this week, so either people took tape with them, or you know, they got back. Like Helfie was gone on Sunday, but he was back early to get tape. So real good football team, very sound, really, really, really well coached. They don't make a lot of mistakes. Got some playmakers on offense, really starting with their quarterback. Everything revolves around him. But the running back's physical, and they got a nice scheme. Chris Harper's doing a really good job at receiver, along with Lockett, and the tight end can really hurt you at times. Big in the offensive line. I think their left tackle's 6'9", 320 or 330 pounds. And then defensively, you know, Arthur Brown's probably one of the top linebackers we'll see. He can really run around and make plays. So, good football team.
Has a lot changed since Harper was here? I mean, how well does he know what you guys do now compared to when he was here?
I mean, I think everything's changed since Chris was here. That was 5 years ago. You know, I know our whole how we call things have changed because we really sped things up, so we had to change all our terminology in terms of how we were calling things. And Chris was here for the first spring. I didn't become the head coach till I think 2 weeks before spring practice, so we didn't change anything that spring, but we changed a lot over that summertime, and then we just keep adding and taking a thing. So, you know, we've had kids come back from, you know, Dennis and some of those guys, and they don't know what we're calling, so I think a lot's changed since then.
Your name's been out there a lot the last couple of weeks. How many NFL teams have contacted you or your agent?
I'm not going to talk about it, and the number's 0. So.
Football Scoop website saying Helf was quarterback coach of the year. How much cachet does that have with coaches nationally?
I don't know. I mean, I was proud of him for what he did. You know, take a freshman quarterback and make him first team All Pac-12 in a league that's known for quarterbacks and had some really good ones. I thought he did a great job. You know, we lost a kid in Darren, you know, that won a ton of games for us, was our all-time leading touchdown passer. You know, did a lot of really, really good things, and to replace him with a freshman like he did that had no game experience whatsoever, and then probably one of our biggest question marks coming into the season. And then you see how well Marcus performed. I think Helf deserves a lot of credit.
So. You guys are going up against a lot of top-flight quarterbacks your time here. How does Colin shape up?
He's a little different. He's certainly number one as a top-flight quarterback, but I think the ability that he has to run and then his size You know, it's almost like you're looking at the Cam Newton type guys or the Terrell Pryor type guys that, you know, you may have a great scheme and have a guy on block, but he may run them over, you know, and I think that's a little bit different than, you know, facing the Matt Scotts or the Taylor Kellys in our league who are athletic and can move around. So I think that component. And then the other thing, even more than Terrell and Cam, is the design runs that are just called, snapping the ball and him running. He's got great instincts. He's got the instincts of a running back, a really, really patient runner, sets up blocks really well, and he's such a big guy that, you know, you're going to have to gang tackle him and get a lot of guys to the ball. So.
Have you noticed more of his yardage coming from set plays or ad libs?
There's a lot of set plays, so I don't know the breakdown, but there's a lot more set plays for him running than there are for any other quarterback we faced. I mean, he's not like anybody we face from that standpoint. I mean, they're calling a design quarterback runs with him. And there's a lot of them. I think he's, you know, last year I think he had over 300 carries last year. I don't know what the exact total is this year, but it's down from last year. But I mean, there's a lot of design quarterback runs in that scheme. So.
For a week-to-week kind of run up to a team, or just kind of time?
Well, being in a bowl is a lot better than a week-to-week run up because that means you're qualified for something. So, I mean, we know how the bowl system works, and everybody. It's not like one team has an advantage and has more time off than another team. You know, and someone's not going to play the week before the game and then have to turn around. So everybody's got the same amount of time, and you know, so we're used to it. It's our fourth straight, you know, going to a January 1st or later game. So, you know, I think we got a pretty good grasp and handle of it. So.
Other than the physical stuff that Klein does, is there anything that jumps off paper, intangibles?
No, I just think all I've done is watch film. You know, you hear everything about his leadership and everybody rallies around him, and I think you can certainly tell that. But everything runs through him, you know, whether he's either throwing it and people are ganging up and worried about him running the ball and crowding a line of scrimmage, but I think he can make you pay, or he's, you know, running the ball. But he's not the only one. That's an unfortunate thing. It's just not stop Colin. Then you got these guys down. It's the running back's a really good player, and the tight ends and the receivers can hurt you. So, you know, they're like us. They're one game away from being a national champion. They were number one at some point in time during the season, and deservedly so. So.
Defensively, their ends both have quite a few sacks.
Yeah.
Are they more bull rush types or speed types?
They're everything. I mean, you're not going to look at a team like this that's got their record and where they're ranked and just say, hey, there's a weakness here. There's not a weakness. They do a great job in the kicking game. They do a great job on defense, and they've got good players at every level. Williams and you know, can really generate a pass rush. Athletic kid can beat you with speed, but you know, they can kind of do it all. So it's not a, you know, you don't look at them and say, all right, there's a real big hole here. There's not a hole in the football team we're going to play. So.
You were down there 2 years ago. You want to keep the same kind of routine?
No, it's totally different because we had to go to school when we were down there. So a lot of our afternoons, we had to hustle in for practice and then really hustle right after practice to get out of high school, to get back, to get our kids, because that game's a little bit later. So it actually coincided. We would have missed our whole first week of school. So our kids were in school every day in the afternoon, I think from 1 to 4, or I don't know the exact schedule, but you know, they had taken proctors and whatnot down there so that our kids didn't miss anything academically. So that part will be, from a schedule standpoint and a practice standpoint, will be a lot different than we were the last time down there. So. You know, I think we're practicing at the same place and staying at the same hotel, but the schedule will be a lot different than it was then. It's more similar to what we did at the 2 Rose Bowls because they occurred, you know, we're down there during Christmas break and we obviously don't have any classes. Classes don't start, I think, until the Monday after our game. You know, our game's on Thursday, so that'll be different.
Coach Helfrich is getting cold, so unless you want to go on with